Hi, so I was shopping for a new kitchen faucet here, and I was basically looking for the best compromise between quality and price. And so I was looking at Moen and I was looking at Kohler, and I also looked on Amazon.com to, get a good idea of, certain kind of generic brands that they had. Because from my experience with Amazon.com, a lot of the generic brands were just as good as the name brands. So what I have here is an Appaso kitchen faucet here from Amazon with about 2,500 good 4.5 star reviews. So over 2,500 reviews that were 4.5 stars. On Home Depot, I got the Moen just to compare the quality and show you side by side, generic brand and a Moen. So the Moen was also it was about 2,004.5 star reviews. So I got this particular one because it was basically very popular. So I'm going to open these side by side and give you a look on just how they are as far as quality is concerned, side by side quality. So as you could see, so this particular one was $190, whereas this Appaso is a French brand. It was only $60, less than $60. It was actually about $57. So just giving you an initial look here. They look fairly identical, and I'll take it out and give you a better look. It's hard to see there because there's a little bit of glare, so that looks a little bit thinner, whereas in fact it's actually the same width. And the materials are, I'll also compare the materials. So let me just pull out the main piece here. So you can see the main faucet. And once again, now that I have it side by side, you could see, it's just the glare. But let me do this. Let me set it like that. And take this out. Now, is it worth basically the $120? This particular one is $190. That one's $57. Now, is it worth that difference in price? So this is the nozzle here, and I'm gonna just put it right there. And let me just take down the camera here and just show you side by side. So both of these are, stainless steel, and both of them has the brass fitting. So inside here, if you look through here, it's all brass, and this also has the ceramic valve and ceramic cartridge, as does the Moen. And the Moen also has brass fittings inside. This is all metal. This is also all metal. And both of them has generous weight to it. In fact, they're equivalent amount of weight. Both of them has, these are all plastic. The nozzles are all plastic. And as far as these hoses, just comparing these hoses side by side, this is the Appaso. So this is the, one thing about the Appaso is you could see that double gasket to prevent leaks, whereas with the Moen, it only has, one gasket. You could see that's a single gasket at that end. That dark black is the gasket. That's a protective cap around it. So, that's one kind of negative with the Moen, is that that is not a double gasket. And the reason why I noticed that is because my previous one is a Price Fister, and that also has a double gasket. So I was pretty concerned about hoping that would be a double gasket. Now both of these have 3 modes. A pause, a aerated stream, and then also the sprinkler spray. And same with this. This also has the aerated, the pause, and the single spray. Now, for just, you know, 10 bucks more or so, I could have gotten a magnetic, you know, so the magnetic really just fits it right in there. It's like a perfect fit because it's like a super strong magnet that just pushes it up. Now, you know, just to compare, you know, these side by side, this is a much better weight than, you know, the tiny one that Moen has. So you can see, you know, that, you know, Appaso did not skimp. This thing is such high quality. So just to even give you a look at the pipes themselves, you know, the strong nylon here. And this is basically, you know, the same. You know, these two grays. In fact, the Appaso is actually thicker. So this is thicker by a lot, you know, by a fraction here. You could see with the nylon. And these are actually more higher quality. The compression fittings, and these are standard 3/8 compression fittings. Now let me take the Moen one over. And you can see kind of how thin the Moen ones are as compared to the Appaso. So that's why I was saying how, you know, this might be a generic brand, but, you know, it has all the signs of it just being so much more high quality than even a Moen. So, you know, what's going to happen is I'm just going to return the Moen. You know, it's not worth the $190. And, you know, this is a very respectable brand. It's a French brand that probably is not very well known in the US, but sells on Amazon. So, you know, just keep in mind that sometimes a lot of the stuff on Amazon is very high quality, and you're really just buying the name. So even this has a good, nice feel to it. You know, it's very responsive, and you know, it's so similar. Now, as far as this is concerned, so this does have an underneath sink kind of dispenser, basically a dishwashing soap dispenser, but that's not worth the $130 difference in price. You know, this being $57 and that being $189, and just because it comes with a little extra thing like that. Now, just examining the plate, so this is the Moen plate, and let me take out the Appaso plate and put this side by side. So this does have slightly different. Now, both of these are not fingerprint magnets. They're both spotless. So they're spotless, doesn't attract fingerprints. And similarly with this, you could see, you know, if I flip it around, those are for kind of like the 3 holes for covering it up. Now, most people won't be using this plate. And they're both steel. This is you know, metal. Now, both the Appaso and this Moen does seem to have, you know, some polyurethane sprayed on it to keep it from corroding. So that's a nice touch also, you know, basically equivalent. And, you know, just pulling back here, giving you a sense. Now this particular hose here is 5 feet, so you know there's good, you know, you could pull that out and extend that out pretty well. Now this in the Appaso comes actually pre-installed, whereas for the Moen you actually have to install it. Now the other aspect of this is, you know, just examining the installation. So you'll notice here with the Appaso, this is very unique in that the tightening system is actually 4 different types. So with this nut, you know, normally with a lot of these Kohlers and Price Fisters and Moens, it only comes with a single nut. So you'll see here that the tightening mechanism that tightens against the counter is simply, this washer being pushed against the counter with a one nut here. So you're gonna basically turn that nut around the center brass piece that tightens this piece against the counter, and that's what keeps this whole thing in place. So it only really has one tightening, one thing that actually pushes it and fastens it against the counter. Whereas I noticed with this Appaso, it's actually four. So, if one thing gets loose, the whole thing doesn't just get loose. You could see, in addition to this ring, this entire brass ring, you have 3 screws. So the chances of all 4 things actually loosening is unlikely. Whereas with the Moen, that's not the case. It might actually loosen. So this does come with these tools for you to actually tighten it, and that becomes a little bit awkward. Whereas for this, it's just, twist it tight, and then use this force, the 3 screws there, a standard screwdriver. So I actually like that, this is a lot more secure. So, I think that's really it. I would say this other thing is that, both of these are going to be easy to install. New faucets are always easy to install. What takes a long time is actually removing the old faucet. So removing the old faucet will take twice as long as actually just installing a new one. So once you have the old one removed, it's pretty easy to install these new ones. But I think that's really it. I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover. I just want to say that this Appaso is just, really, really high quality. I mean, it's exactly the same in quality as this Moen that I see. So, I think trusting the 2,500 reviews on Amazon, so I'm going to keep this Appaso and install this one, and I'm going to return this Moen to Home Depot. And, it's going to save me a lot of money. So there you go. I hope this helps, and please subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.